Every great change starts with something small. We often think that transformation requires massive action, dramatic events, or once-in-a-lifetime breakthroughs. But the truth is, the most powerful change in your life can begin with the tiniest shift, tiny actions that compound day by day, habit by habit. And when those small habits are stacked together with intention and consistency, they build a foundation strong enough to support the grandest dreams you've ever dared to hold. The key isn't intensity, it's consistency. The goal isn't perfection, it's progression. Because what you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. Let me show you how 10 small habits, when done with intention and discipline, can transform your life forever. Start with how you begin each day. The way you rise often determines how you rise in life. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m. like a Navy SEAL or running a marathon before breakfast. It's about reclaiming your mornings as sacred time for your soul. A simple habit of rising just 30 minutes earlier than usual can create space for silence, movement, reflection, or learning. That small act says to the world and to yourself, I am in control of my life. And from that control comes confidence, and from that confidence comes courage to step into every challenge the day throws at you. There is something special about choosing to greet the day rather than being dragged into it by an alarm clock and chaos. In those quiet early minutes, you are not just preparing for the day, you are programming your life. Another habit that changes the game entirely is intentional gratitude. Every single day, take a moment, just 1 minute, to name 3 things you are truly thankful for. Not surface-level stuff, but things that light up your heart. This habit reprograms your brain to focus on abundance instead of lack. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to see that even in the struggle, there is beauty. Gratitude is a magnet for miracles. It changes how you perceive your circumstances. When you start noticing what's good, more good shows up. Life bends in the direction of your focus. Where attention goes, energy flows. This simple act of daily gratitude can turn a life of survival into a life of celebration. Let's talk about movement, not necessarily hitting the gym for hours, but moving your body with intention every day. Whether it's a 10-minute walk, stretching in your room, dancing to your favorite song, or doing bodyweight exercises, the habit of moving sends a message to your mind. I care for this vessel. Physical activity changes your biology. It boosts your mood, clears your mind, sharpens your focus, and lifts your energy. Your body is designed to move, and when you honor that design, it rewards you with vitality. Energy is everything. Without it, even the best intentions fade. So make movement non-negotiable. Even small steps add up to mountains climbed over time. What about feeding your mind? You become what you consume. Not just food, but information, ideas, energy, and conversations. One small habit that will reshape your mindset is reading or listening to something uplifting, educational, or inspiring for just 15 minutes a day. It could be a book, a podcast, a motivational video, whatever fuels your growth. This habit turns wasted time into wisdom time. Instead of scrolling through negativity, you're building your mental muscle. You're downloading strategies, stories, and perspectives that stretch your thinking. Growth-minded people are not born. They are built through daily inputs. When you keep pouring the right information into your mind starts producing the right results in your life. Speaking of inputs, consider your environment. Clean your space, not once a year, not in a frenzy, but as a daily ritual. A habit of taking just 5 minutes to organize your surroundings can have a profound effect on your clarity, creativity, and calm. Clutter drains energy. Order amplifies focus. When your environment reflects your goals, you are more likely to live in alignment with them. You don't need perfection, you need intentionality. A tidy desk, a clean kitchen, an organized closet. These are not just aesthetics. They are statements of self-respect. They are declarations that you take yourself seriously, and when you do, the world starts to reflect that energy back. Another simple but powerful habit is journaling. Even just writing down one thought, one lesson, or one intention each day can anchor you to your truth. Your journal becomes your mirror, your map, your sanctuary. It captures your growth, it reveals your patterns, and it sharpens your self-awareness. You don't need to write a novel. A single paragraph, a single sentence, even a single word can hold immense power. Journaling is a conversation with your future self. It's a record of who you are becoming. And when you see that progress over time, you realize how far you've come, and how capable you are of going even further. Now let's talk about one of the hardest, yet most life-changing habits: doing hard things on purpose. Every day, choose one thing that's uncomfortable and do it anyway. It might be having a tough conversation, waking up early, working out when you don't feel like it, or saying no when it's easier to say yes. This habit builds resilience, it builds grit. It turns you into someone who does what needs to be done, not just what feels good in the moment. Most people avoid discomfort. They take the easy road, but champions, they lean into discomfort because they know growth lives there. One brave choice a day, over time, rewires you into a warrior. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to respect yourself, and others do too. Let's not forget the power of presence. In this distracted world, the ability to be fully here is rare and priceless. Make it a habit to disconnect from your devices for at least 30 minutes a day. No notifications, no screens, no distractions. Just you and the moment. You might talk with someone you love, take a walk in nature, meditate, or simply sit in silence. This time reconnects you to your essence. It reminds you that life is not lived through a screen, but through your senses. Being present is not just good for your soul. It improves your relationships, your creativity, and your decision-making. When you train yourself to be here, really here, life starts to open up in ways you never imagined. Another life-altering habit is saying kind words out loud. Every day, compliment someone, encourage someone, or express appreciation. Your words carry weight. They can lift someone's spirit, shift their day, or even save their life. But more than that, speaking life into others changes you. It makes you more loving, more empathetic, more alive. It turns your focus outward, and when you live to lift others, you rise with them. Small words of kindness, spoken consistently, build a legacy. They make you memorable. They make you magnetic. Be the reason someone smiles today, and watch how that energy comes back around to bless your own heart. Finally, let's talk about reflection. End your day the way you began it, with intention. Take just 5 minutes each night to review your day. What went well? What did you learn? What would you do differently tomorrow? This habit keeps you aligned. It keeps you accountable. Without reflection, days blur into each other. But with reflection, every day becomes a teacher. You stop sleepwalking through life and start showing up with purpose. This simple habit transforms mistakes into lessons, victories into fuel, and routines into rituals. It makes every day count. These habits may seem small, that's the point. Big change doesn't come from doing everything at once. It comes from doing a few things every day that steer your life in the direction of your dreams. One step at a time, one habit at a time, brick by brick, you build the life you want. Change doesn't need to be dramatic to be effective. A 1% improvement every day results in a 37 times improvement by the end of the year. The compounding power of these small habits is the secret weapon of the successful, the fulfilled, the extraordinary. But they only work if you work them. They only change your life if you commit, not for a week, not for a month, but for a lifetime. Don't wait for motivation. Build discipline. Motivation fades, but habits stick. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now with what you have. Progress loves action. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. You are not behind. You're right where you need to be to take the next step. Don't try to be perfect. Just try to be consistent, and when you fall, and you will, don't give up, just get back up. That's how champions are made. Remember, your life is your responsibility. No one is coming to save you. But you have everything you need within you to save yourself, to rise, to evolve, to become. Start with one habit, master it, then stack another and another. Soon the compound effect kicks in and your life begins to transform, not by force, but by flow. Not by pressure, but by power. Your power. You deserve a life that excites you, fulfills you, challenges you, and grows you. That life is not a miracle. It's a result of the choices you make daily. The habits you build consistently, the standards you uphold relentlessly. So rise, start small, dream big, move daily, reflect nightly, speak kindly, live fully, and never, ever underestimate the power of one small habit to change everything. Because the truth is, the secret to changing your life is not in doing more. It's in doing the right things, consistently, and it all begins today. It all begins with you. It all begins with the moment you decide that enough is enough, that you're done living below your potential, that you're no longer going to let distractions, doubts, or excuses steal your future. Because whether you realize it or not, your future is being shaped by your daily decisions. Every time you choose to rise instead of sleep in, to speak life instead of complain, to move your body instead of stay still, to feed your mind instead of numb it, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And those votes, one by one, tip the balance of your identity. The incredible thing about small habits is that they're manageable. They don't require massive willpower or huge resources. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to change your direction. Instead of moving away from your goals through apathy and avoidance, you begin to move toward them through small, meaningful action. Momentum is born in moments, small moments where you choose progress over stagnation. There will be days you don't feel like it, days where you question if any of it matters, days where you'd rather give up than show up. But remember this, every single day that you choose to stick to these small habits, even when it's hard, you're building something unshakable within you. You're building integrity, you're building identity, and you're proving to yourself that you are someone who keeps promises. To others, yes, but most importantly, to yourself. So many people fail not because they lack talent, resources, or opportunity, but because they never learn to master the little things. They chase the extraordinary and ignore the essential. They wait for motivation to strike, for life to get easier, for circumstances to align. But life doesn't work like that. Life rewards the disciplined. Life honors the consistent. Life favors the prepared. If you want to be the kind of person who thrives, not just survives, then you must become obsessed with what you do daily. You must fall in love with the process, not just the prize, because that's where greatness is made, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, not in the applause, but in the silence, not in the breakthrough, but in the build-up. Think about the kind of person you admire, the ones who seem focused, energized, at peace, the ones who radiate clarity, who seem to move through life with purpose and grace. That's not an accident. That's not magic. That's discipline disguised as ease. That's years of small habits practiced relentlessly. That's the power of repetition, refinement, and resilience. And you can be that person too. No one's born with discipline. It's forged, it's earned, and it starts when you decide that your future is more important than your comfort. When you decide that who you want to become is more powerful than what you feel like doing right now. So let me ask you, what will you do today? Will you sleep through your alarm, or will you rise and claim your morning? Will you scroll endlessly through distraction, or will you feed your mind something that makes you better? Will you let clutter control your space, or will you take 5 minutes to create order? Will you walk past the mirror and ignore your thoughts, or will you write them down and learn from them? Will you wait for life to happen, or will you create it with intention? The truth is, the smallest decisions are the ones that shape us most, And once you begin to see your habits as your personal architecture, as the foundation of your destiny, you begin to take them more seriously. You begin to elevate your standards. You begin to treat yourself with the same respect you've been craving from the world. When you practice these habits long enough, something inside you begins to shift. You begin to feel a deeper sense of ownership over your life. You stop blaming others. You stop outsourcing your happiness. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you because you realize you were the hero all along. You were the answer you were looking for. You just needed the tools. You just needed the structure. You just needed the path. These 10 habits are that path. They are the silent warriors of transformation. They won't change your life in a day, but they will change your direction, and that changes everything. Imagine where you could be 1 year from now if you started today, if you stopped waiting, if you stopped wishing, if you stopped overcomplicating. What would your energy feel like? What would your confidence look like? What would your peace sound like? You don't need a new year. You don't need a Monday. You need a decision. One small decision to say yes to yourself, to your future, to the life you know deep down you're capable of living. This is your invitation to rise, to build, to commit. Start by owning your mornings. Honor your time, move with intention, feed your mind, clean your space, journal your truth, lean into discomfort, disconnect to reconnect, speak kindness, reflect deeply. These aren't just habits. They're acts of rebellion in a world that wants you distracted. They're acts of self-respect in a culture that profits from your self-neglect. They're a revolution against mediocrity, a declaration that you will no longer settle for anything less than your best. And if you stick with them, day after day, week after week, there will come a time when others will look at your life and call it lucky, but you'll know better. You'll know that what they call luck was really just small habits, done consistently, with relentless faith and fierce commitment. This is your moment. No more waiting. No more excuses. No more drifting through life hoping something changes. You are the change. You are the breakthrough. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. You hold the formula. Not some secret kept by the elite. Not some mystical process reserved for the chosen few. Just 10 small, deliberate habits. 10 tiny hinges that swing open the biggest doors of opportunity. That's the power you've been gifted with. The ability to shape your reality not through force, but through focus, not through struggle, but through consistency. Each day you apply these habits, you're voting for the version of you that you want to be. Each day you either reinforce your discipline or you feed your distractions. There is no neutral in the process of transformation. You are always moving, either closer to your potential or further away. That's why these small habits are not just helpful, they are necessary, because in a world that pushes chaos, these habits are your calm. In a world that promotes instant gratification, these habits build your patience. In a world that shouts louder, these habits teach you to listen inward. And slowly, without realizing it at first, you begin to rise, not in a way that's flashy or boastful, but in a way that's unshakable. You develop a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you do the work, whether or not anyone's watching. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. Because you know that each early morning you claim, each mindful step you take, each encouraging word you speak, you are aligning with your highest self. That alignment is what brings peace. Not comfort, not complacency, peace. The kind of peace that comes from living in harmony with your values. That peace is rare, and it is priceless. You can't buy it. You can't borrow it. You earn it, one habit at a time, and when challenges come, and they will, you won't crumble like you once did. You'll stand taller, not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. You'll look at the same obstacles that once overwhelmed you and say, "I've handled worse." You'll face the same fears that used to paralyze you and whisper, "I am not afraid." In that courage, it won't come from hype, it'll come from habit. That's what separates those who talk about change from those who create it. It's not talent, it's not connections, it's not luck. It's relentless, disciplined, consistent action. And you don't have to be extraordinary to start, but you do have to start to become extraordinary. Let this be the turning point, the moment you stop living passively and start showing up powerfully. The moment you stop dreaming small and start acting bold. Because if you really understood what you're capable of, if you could see just a glimpse of the life waiting for you on the other side of your habits, you would stop at nothing to claim it. No more dabbling, no more halfway in. You go all in. You commit not for the sake of results, but because of who you become in the process. You commit because your family deserves the best version of you. Your purpose deserves the fullest expression of you. The world deserves your light, not dimmed, not distracted, but radiant. So you show up, you rise with the sun, not because it's trendy, but because you crave clarity. You move your body, not for vanity, but for vitality. You reflect in a journal, not for perfection, but for perspective. You clean your space, not for image, but for intention. You practice gratitude, not because life is perfect, but because you've trained yourself to find the good. You feed your mind, not for applause, but because you refuse to starve your potential. You push through discomfort, not for ego, but for evolution. You disconnect from screens, not out of rebellion, but out of respect for the moment. You speak kindness, not because you're soft, but because you are strong enough to lift others. You review your day, not because you failed, but because you're committed to growth. That's the life-changing power of these small habits. Not in what they look like, but in what they lead to. They lead to self-respect. They lead to mastery. They lead to a future so bright, your past no longer has power over you, and don't expect overnight success. Expect to show up for yourself every day and grow through the process. Expect to stumble, expect setbacks, but also expect comebacks, expect breakthroughs. Expect to one day look in the mirror and see someone you're deeply proud of. Someone forged not by ease, but by effort. There's no finish line in this journey. It's a lifelong pursuit of becoming more aligned, more aware, more awake. And that's the point. You don't arrive, you evolve, and the evolution doesn't happen once. It happens every morning you rise with purpose. Every evening you reflect with honesty. Every moment you choose growth over comfort. And if you ever feel like quitting, don't pause, breathe, reset, but don't quit. The version of you on the other side of consistency is worth fighting for. They're stronger, wiser, calmer, bolder, and they are waiting. So keep going, keep building. You're not just forming habits, you're forming character. You're not just changing routines, you're changing your life. And one day, when you look back at the person you used to be, you'll smile, not because they were weak, but because they had the courage to begin. Because they chose to rise when it was easier to sleep. Because they chose growth when it was safer to shrink. Because they planted seeds when there was no guarantee of a harvest. And now, because of that decision, everything has changed. Not all at once, not through force, but through the quiet power of 10 small habits, lived with consistency, fueled by purpose, guided by vision. Never stop believing in the power of small beginnings. Because everything big was once small. Every strong foundation began as a single brick laid with care. Every powerful voice was once just a whisper of potential. Every remarkable life was once just an ordinary one, made extraordinary by the decision to show up, again and again, and do the simple things with excellence. And here you are, standing on the edge of a new chapter. You don't need anyone's permission to turn the page. You don't need approval to rise. You need only one thing, a relentless commitment to becoming who you were meant to be. There will be days you wake up tired. Days when doubt creeps in. Days when you wonder if it's working. And it's on those days you must remember, growth is not always loud. It's not always visible. Sometimes it happens quietly, beneath the surface, like roots deepening into the soil before the first sprout ever shows. Trust the process, trust your process, because every time you wake up early, every time you move your body, every time you journal your thoughts, every time you clean your space, every time you resist distractions, you are deepening those roots. You are preparing for the harvest, and yes, there will be setbacks. You will mess up. You will skip a day. You will make mistakes. But don't let one bad day convince you that you've failed. One misstep does not erase your momentum. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. As long as you're moving forward, even slowly, you're winning. That's what makes these habits so powerful. They are not built on massive action, but on meaningful repetition. They don't ask you to be perfect. They ask you to be present, to show up just as you are and give what you can, even if it's not much, even if you're tired, even if no one sees, because eventually your consistency will speak louder than any excuse ever could. And there's something beautiful that happens when you begin to live this way. You become magnetic. People feel your energy. They see your discipline. They notice your peace. And while they may not understand the hours you put in, the early mornings, the sacrifices, you'll know. You'll know what it took. You'll know who you had to become. You'll know the battles you had to fight behind the scenes. And that quiet confidence, that unshakable sense of inner strength, is the reward. You start to realize you don't need the world to validate you, because you've already validated yourself through your actions. You've earned your own respect, and that self-respect, that integrity, that is what changes everything. When you operate from that place, you make better decisions. You stop chasing people. You stop forcing outcomes. You begin to attract what's meant for you because you've aligned yourself with truth, with discipline, with purpose. This is how real transformation happens, not through external changes, but through inner mastery, through the courage to live with intention in a world that's desperate to distract you, through the discipline to follow through even when it's hard, through the belief that small steps taken with faith are more powerful than leaps taken with doubt. So commit again and again to the process, when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one is watching. That's when it matters most. That's when your character is being shaped, and never underestimate how far you've come. Celebrate every win, no matter how small. Every time you say no to the easy path and yes to growth, you're making history. Your history. And one day when you look back on this season of your life, you'll be proud. Not because everything went perfectly, but because you kept going when it didn't. You showed up when you didn't feel like it. You pushed forward when everything in you said stop. You chose purpose over comfort. You chose progress over excuses. You chose to be uncommon in a world that settles for average, and that's what greatness is. Not a single shining moment, but a lifetime of small moments stacked on top of each other until they form something magnificent, something undeniable, something legendary. So live your life that way. Stack your days with intention, stack your hours with purpose, stack your moments with love, and watch what happens. Watch how your confidence grows, watch how your energy shifts, watch how opportunities start to find you. Watch how people start to notice something different about you, not because you told them, but because they can feel it. That's the silent power of these habits. They change you from the inside out. And once that change begins, nothing can stop it, unless you quit. So don't quit. Rise, breathe, begin again and again and again. You have everything you need. The dream is real. The habits are simple. The time is now. Go meet your future with open eyes and steady hands. With a mind sharpened by discipline and a heart strengthened by consistency, you don't need to wait for the perfect time. It's already here. You don't need to wait for the right mood. Your mission is greater than your mood. You don't need to feel like it. You need to decide that you're committed, with or without the feeling, because feelings come and go, but habits remain. Habits are the anchors in the storms of life. They hold you steady when everything else seems to sway. They keep you grounded when the winds of chaos try to pull you off course. They're your daily act of defiance against the noise. your personal declaration that you're in control of your path. Every time you repeat one of these 10 habits, you are reinforcing a truth about yourself, that you are a person of discipline, of strength, of purpose, that you're not just reacting to life, you are creating it. That you're not just surviving, you are evolving, and the beauty of it all is that no one can take this from you. Your habits belong to you, your effort belongs to you, your progress belongs to you. It's yours to build and yours to protect. No one else gets to decide how far you go. That power has always been in your hands, so take it seriously. Take yourself seriously. Stop treating your potential like a backup plan. Stop treating your life like a rehearsal. This is your one shot, your one journey, and it's worth giving everything you've got. Not because the world is watching, but because your soul is. Because you owe it to yourself to know what it feels like to live fully, to rise boldly, to walk each day with fire in your belly and peace in your spirit. And don't forget, there's someone out there who needs the version of you that emerges from this process. Someone who needs your courage, your story, your strength. Your growth is not just for you. It's for the people your life will touch, for the impact your presence will create. When you commit to these habits, you're not just upgrading your life. You're changing the atmosphere around you. You're becoming a beacon of possibility, a walking example of what's possible when you stop making excuses and start making moves. So let today be the day you decide to live with relentless intention. The day you stop chasing distractions and start chasing excellence. The day you trade convenience for conviction. Start with one habit, just one, master it, let it become part of you, then add another. Let each one stack on the next, like bricks forming a fortress of discipline and purpose. Wake up early, not just to beat the sun, but to beat your excuses. Move your body, not just to look good, but to feel unstoppable. Feed your mind, not just with content, but with truth and clarity. Write your thoughts, not just to reflect, but to evolve. Clean your space, not just for order, but to create peace. Disconnect from noise, not just to rest, but to reconnect with your vision. Speak life, not just to others, but to your own journey. Embrace discomfort, not as punishment, but as the birthplace of greatness. And most importantly, stay consistent, not perfect. Just consistent, because consistency compounds. Every small win adds up. Every small action matters. Every small step brings you closer. Keep going when it's hard. Keep going when it's quiet. Keep going when no one believes. Keep going because you believe. Your future is being built in this very moment, in the next choice you make, in the next habit you reinforce, in the next time you rise instead of retreat. So choose wisely, choose discipline, choose growth. Choose to become the person your future needs you to be. Because once you committrially commit, there's nothing that can stop you. Not the past, not the doubt, not the fear, not even failure. Because now you know the truth. You don't rise by accident, you rise by habit, and starting today you rise forever.